There are many who speak of accounts and experiences of interacting with the spirit world, which is as much as can be relied upon for an idea of its existence at the very least, and evidence of its legitimacy at the very most. But all things in the unseen world are not a matter of visible factuality. They are a matter of invisible reality. They are accepted on the basis of belief in what is unseen, not evidence of what is seen. The only thing that can be legitimately proven in the visible world is what is seen, visual evidence of things that testify to the validity of their existence unquestionably. All invisible things given any claim of validity are the evidence of things not seen, that being believed are accepted as true, as a matter of will and intent. It is important in this regard to understand the separation of physical nature from spiritual nature. They are based on two separate systems that perceive reality and interact environmentally in contrasting worlds. And yet these worlds entirely affect one another, but specifically in the order of the invisible world impacting the developments of the visible world, which is factually proven on the very basis that the feelings that we feel, the thoughts that we think, and the ideas that we surmise, all being unseen in their conception, form the basis of what we perform as conscious actions. And because of the inability of humanity to completely cross this threshold that divides the invisible world from the visible world, we cannot deal with or overcome the root cause of our fundamental problems in the world. All of humanity is spurred on by the power of influences unseen that impact our views, perceptions, intentions, and experiences pertaining to things that are seen. These influences are conceived at the very core of our nature and being, and they are the results of the presence of corruption, which exists as a spiritual essence known as sin. Now, where exactly did sin come from, and why is it so prevalent in human life? Sin, first of all, is not a visible construct. It's not merely an act that one performs. It is an invisible force. It is a spiritual influence. Sin ultimately is the result of a breach of purpose, which gives rise to its entrance into an otherwise pure and undefiled existence. Its effects begin wherever there is rejection of original intent. What began as the intent for the world, originating with all that was essentially good and pertinent to its constructiveness, became the workings of intentions departing from its naturally occurring course of life, distorted by contrary purposes. Sin is everything that works against that original intent, which is the evident reality of good fulfilled not in the eyes of humanity, but by the handiwork of divinity. The unseen presence and power of one, whose person, essence, mind, and influence gives life to every being in existence, and breath to every human creature living by his own ever-living spirit. Humanity as a whole was sold into the slavery of sinful indulgence once one man chose to deny faith in God's divine purpose. That man was the original creation of God. His name was Adam. He was created and ordained to be the procreator and facilitator of all that would be human life serving the purposes of God. He defied God's will by disobeying the call for which he was created and made to serve. Instead, he listened to the voice of his wife, who was herself ordained to be the support helping him carry out his calling by God, but was deceived by the call of another. The call she received was from an opposing spiritual entity known as Satan, a being originally called of God himself, who defied God to exalt himself as God. And foreknowing God's purposes, Satan endeavored to use Adam's wife, Eve, to help Adam defy God's intent rather than fulfill it. Well, why exactly did the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-seeing, almighty God allow or condone any of this? Not only did God give his created beings the choice to accept or deny him, and that by the opportunity to believe in him or to depart from him, but he ordained the means of rectification that on the one hand condemned Satan to damnation, and on the other hand redeems humanity through salvation. What God allows, then, he makes provision for, as a means of demonstrating the full extent of his foreknowledge and preeminent power. The somewhat predictable fall of humanity into conditions of sinful condemnation, being entirely prone to its influence and exposed to its corruption, was not without a redemptive intent that would secure the believing, but sadly destroy the unbelieving. The God-inspired ability to choose by understanding and reasoning proves to be both a blessing and a curse to humanity. Not because it is a curse, as those who choose freely to do what they will find measures of fulfillment in their own efforts, and certainly feel lucky or grateful within themselves by their personal choices. But because choice becomes a tool weaponized by Satan to drive humanity further and further away from God, who ordained the power of choice within himself for a creation that would willingly acknowledge and intentionally serve his purposes.